Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Avery, and in today's video I'm going to be trying something a bit different for me. This video is inspired by YouTube channels like Katie of the House and Amelia Budgets, and they like to go through their weekly spending trackers. Also, I think Christine Budgets and Bujos also does it, so that was the inspiration for this and something I just wanted to try for the month of February and see how everyone likes it, including myself. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the first week of February. The first week is a bit of a shorter week, but I do have a lot of monthly expenses that seem to come out towards the beginning of the month. So we'll be going through that along with all the money I spent in the various categories. So the very first expense that I had was, and let's see if I can... Sure, Oxford Dictionary, why not? Okay, so the first expense was my rent and water category. This was $858. I have this listed as first expense of the new year. Obviously, that's not correct. I originally tried to do this in January, but I kind of failed at keeping up with it. So let's just ignore that note when I duplicated the expense tracker. Yeah, so my rent is $858. I do live alone. I live in a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. I live in the Midwest, and this is what it costs for me to live on my own each month. The next thing that I had to spend was $66 at Kroger, and this was on groceries. So I did need to buy groceries, and it seems like grocery prices have been going up quite a bit. So $66 at the beginning of the month when my budget is like about $175 for groceries right now should be an interesting time. But at least February is a short month, so hopefully I can stay under budget. And then I have this final category over here that just says what I've spent / earned so far. We will also go through what I earn in the month of February as money comes into my account and as money goes out of my account. So far on February 1st, I had spent $924. I did have an inflow on February 2nd. I got my state tax refund. It was $147. So I ended up filing my taxes right when you could file taxes. I did get money back from the state, obviously, but I actually owed a little bit of money for the federal government. I owed $33. So that wasn't too bad. And I think it was just because I had a few different jobs in the last year. So it was kind of a bit of a struggle to, I guess just forecast what my taxes were going to be, and I ended up taking a little bit extra out, but it didn't fully cover it. But all in all, if it was just $33, I wasn't too bad with it. But I did get some money back from the state, so that's what I got on February 2nd. Also on February 2nd, I forgot my lunch at home. I ended up working in the office this day, and I forgot all the food I was going to eat, so I ended up eating out a lot for breakfast and for dinner because I didn't eat a breakfast at home either. I was supposed to bring my breakfast into the office, and I forgot it all. But I did spend $3 at a donut shop. These amounts, by the way, are rounded, obviously. Yeah, so the spent / earned, if I clicked on it, would tell me the full total, but I spent $3 on a donut at a donut shop, and there is a generic store here just because I don't want to give out anything that would be too identifiable about where my location is, just for privacy purposes at the time. The next expense is I spent $4 at Panera Bread, and I put the note here that I forgot to bring my lunch to work, so I ended up getting this food at Panera Bread. I got a sandwich, but I had a $2 off coupon on their app. I also spent $12 on Cash App / Venmo. I sent this to my boyfriend. This was actually just me paying him back for something in January that I never got around to doing. We ended up going out for a meal, and I just gave him some money for part of the meal. So I had to send him $12, and that came out of my spending category. So if you notice my categories, I do have most of these expenses coming out of spending. I am trying something this year where I just have like a general spending category where my dining out and like clothing, fun things that I'm doing, things like that, it all comes out of my spending category. So if that category pops up a lot, that's because I have been spending a lot of money from it, I guess, or I just have a lot of different miscellaneous things that come out of there. I also spent, I guess, depending on who you ask, you may or may not consider this an actual expense, but I did have $318 leave my bank account and go to my Roth IRA in Fidelity. So that brought me up to $1,262 spent so far for the month. This is my monthly investment. I am trying to invest at least $275. But if I have a little extra money, I invest a little more. So I did this month. So that's great. And then going forward, I spent $12 at Noodles and Company. This is just like a fast casual restaurant that has noodles. And this was also on February 2nd because I forgot my lunch. So Panera was my breakfast and Noodles and Company was my lunch. And then the donut was my snack. So that's kind of where all of that was coming from. So I ended up eating at home that night because I clearly spent more money than I intended to during the day. But moving forward, I don't know why I keep pulling up the dictionary, but that's an accident. On February 3rd, I refilled my Starbucks app. I actually have not done this in years since I was in college. I would refill the Starbucks app. Like, if you pay for a drink on the app and you're out of money on like the card on there, you can refill it in certain increments. For a while, I was just using the app and using my credit card, but I decided to try this just to see how like setting an arbitrary limit or budget would work for me for the month and kind of like front loading my spending on that just so I have a better idea of how the rest of my spending category can go. So that is something I'm trying out for the month of February. Also, in the month of February, I spent $61 at Ticketmaster, and I put a note here saying that I'll be reimbursed for 45 of it. I'm actually being reimbursed for about $30 of it because I ended up buying the tickets for a gymnastics meet that me, my boyfriend, and a couple friends went to. So I'm getting paid back for some of it, and then one of them's just going to buy me dinner that day. Or they did buy me dinner that day because I am filming this on the day that happened. So that's what I ended up spending on February 3rd, which brought me up to $1,360. Moving forward into February 4th, and this is the final day for this week since it is a shortened week for the month, for the first week of February, I guess. I ended up spending $2 on parking. I put parking in my transportation category, so it's the same category as something like if I had to buy gas for my car. And this $2 for parking is just, it covers about like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the city. So different parts of the city have free parking and other parts have paid parking. So this area had paid parking, but since it's so cheap, I do it so little, I don't really care that much how much it costs. If it costs more, obviously I just would go to a different part of the city, but I wanted to go to a specific cafe, so I ended up paying for parking for that. And speaking of this cafe, I ended up spending $26 at the cafe. It's also technically a coffee shop. I ended up buying some food and a couple of drinks. So a coffee for me and a coffee for my boyfriend. And that ended up costing $26, which brought me up to $1,387 in the spent category. I did toy around a little bit with like making this be the running total for like each category, but honestly, I'm just don't have that brain capacity or I don't have that skill set on Google Sheets. If you can tell, this is a pretty low budget Google Sheets around here. So maybe in the future I can flesh out the spreadsheet a little more, but for now it's just keeping it pretty simple. Continuing with February 4th, I spent $7 at a coffee shop. This was a latte plus a tip. And then I also spent $16 at the same coffee shop, but I ended up putting this one in the groceries category because I bought a bag of coffee to use at home. I really do like supporting like the coffee shops in my neighborhood and just around the city, and especially with buying just like the beans that they have because it tastes so much better than anything I can get at the grocery store. So even though it's like a little pricey, I consider it worth it because it helps me drink more coffee at home anyways. So that brings my total for the month of February so far to $1,411. There's no expenses listed here for February 5th because I had a no spend day. So I am filming this on the end of the day on February 5th. I'm struggling with dates, and I'm just gonna mark this no spend maybe. I know that Katie likes to do that on her spreadsheet, so I'll just put this at $0. No category, no spending, etc. And I'm going to put this in conditional formatting and just make it green just so I can see that it was no spend. I don't know, maybe I should do it like this. Okay, that works. I want it to be completely green. So that is what I spent for the first week of February. I'm kind of hoping that February will be a bit of a lower spend month. I can't guarantee it because I feel like I've been buying a lot of things. Um, I've been buying a lot of stuff lately, or I'm preparing to buy a lot of things lately that are just like in preparation for the rest of the year. So, like, I know I'm going on vacation in June, and I know I'm signing a new lease soon. So, if I have to spend money for the security deposit, that will obviously come out. There's nothing I can really do to avoid that because I'm just securing future housing for myself. So, ultimately, it's kind of up in the air in the moment. But if I could keep my actual like spending on here down, that would be great. But yeah, otherwise, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please like it as it really helps out my channel. If you have suggestions for my spreadsheet, since it's not the most fancy thing in the world, you can leave it in the comments down below. I always appreciate helpful tips and tricks. I'm not much of an Excel or Google Sheets person, but I am trying a little bit to be better at it over time, and I feel like if I can flesh it out a little more, it can be really helpful for me, and maybe just I can give it out for free for people as well once it's actually like a workable spreadsheet. I would call this an it works for me spreadsheet, not a workable spreadsheet. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye now.